The Defense Department has designated a San Antonio military base as one of 4 quarantine sites for those returning from overseas amid the coronavirus outbreak. Eyewitness News reporter Mariah Medina joins us live now outside Joint Base San Antonio Lackland with details. So Mariah, what do we know so far?
Well, Phil, this came down just hours ago. The Department of Defense has designated Joint Base San Antonio Lackland as a possible quarantine site. This is in addition to 2 bases in California and 1 in Colorado. Now, this is in response to the spread of the coronavirus. At least 8 cases have been confirmed in the United States, and airlines are even suspending travel to China, where more than 250 people have died from the coronavirus. The Department of Defense announced this afternoon that they would be assisting Health and Human Services in providing housing to up to 1,000 people who may need to be quarantined after traveling overseas. Now, we reached out to the San Antonio Fire Department and Metro Health. Both said they're unaware of the situation, and it's still unclear how many people will be housed at Lackland Air Force Base and what measures will be taken to ensure that this does not spread here in San Antonio. But for now, reporting live outside of Joint Base San Antonio Lackland, Mariah Medina, KENS 5 Eyewitness News.